Dropbox. I don't have a Dropbox, but could you
Any way you want.
yeah, could you upload it? Yeah, can you just share a link with it to me?
Definitely.
Yeah, and then I can download it. But yeah, that's awesome, man. Thanks so much for doing that. I'll put it on, is it okay if I put it on YouTube? Some people don't like me to.
Maybe not the first one because there's some like personal stuff that didn't cut out, but yeah, but definitely.
Okay, yeah. Well, just let me know if it's okay, because it's cool to see it up there. And also, I could put it on YouTube and make it private, then, so only, like, you can see it and people you share it with. But, I mean, YouTube's just so easy to use and stream, you know, so that's why I put it there. And,
I can upload to YouTube.
Okay, yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah, and also the sometimes YouTube will take it down because I play music and YouTube can actually recognize the songs I play even though they're kind of,
and if you don't have a license.
Yeah, which I'm amazed by that they can identify it without me digitally playing it, you know. But yeah, so that all sounds good. Okay then, so how about you upload the episode last lesson? Yeah, so I guess why don't we kind of break this down into like two things, right? This lesson, I mean. How about we go over a little bit of your homework, and then like the second half, we'll kind of move on to some new stuff. Yeah. So let's start with kind of those 4 songs I gave you to like analyze. Based upon.
I did a lot of analyzation. I don't have it right here.
Okay.
I don't have it right here because I don't have my notepad right here.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. We can even go over it, you know. And with this specific kind of homework, it's less about what's right and what's wrong, and more about getting you to think in a certain way, right? Because this homework, like I explained last time, you know, in analyzing rhymes, it's really just something that you should always be doing, and eventually. At first, you'll have to do it consciously, and then eventually it will become subconscious. And so, again, it's almost like a radar, you know, just like a radar, always going on, always going around, beeping. And every time a rhyme goes off, the radar beeps a little bit, and then you analyze that rhyme, right? And so the 4 things, the 5th was uniqueness, you know, and we talked a little bit about that, but since that's hard to measure, we leave it to the side. So it's length, position, order, and frequency, I think. But yeah, whatever the 4 are, you know, and that's just a broad framework. So it's okay. Why don't we listen to one of the songs together, actually? Is that okay?
Definitely.
Okay, yeah, so this one is, I want to make sure, did you get to all 4?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
I went through all 4. The most def one, I couldn't find lyrics online, so I actually just wrote it down by myself.
Yeah, that's confusing, because I think it's actually, I told you, and I wanted you to analyze the most def rhymes, but actually I think it's a Cassidy song. That's C-A-S-S.
It's Monster Music, and then it's Cassidy and Most Def.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so let's do this. And I think he goes first. Yeah, so he's the first verse, so let's listen to the start a little bit.
The earth, wind, fire, the lightning and the thunder. No need to wonder. Switch beats. L-O-S. You know the drill. Listen. Simple and spare, I'm gifted, I'm rare. I'm Brooklyn, put a fist in the air. Pretty Flacco. Black Dawn say the nigga is here. Steady rock for any nigga that's here. And any nigga that's not. For them niggas locked 2 in the box.
Alright, yeah, that's enough. Alright, so let's take the opening again, just this opening line.
I'm Brooklyn, the drill. Listen. Simple and spare, I'm gifted, I'm rare.
Alright, so I'm gifted, I'm spare. I'm sorry, I missed it. I'm
simple as spam. I'm gifted,
rare.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, so let me, and I'll kind of show you the easy notation system I use to represent these. Gifted and spare, whatever, simple and rare. So just some quick, like, housekeeping stuff. If a word is mentioned twice in the same rhyme, I don't consider it a rhyme. So that's why and isn't capitalized there, because I capitalize all my rhymes. So it's not that that's right or wrong, it's more just you need a consistent method. And I just think, you know, repeating a word in a rhyme isn't, like, super impressive. And So you can see spare and rare is really easy to identify as a rhyme, you know, and gifted and simple is a little harder because the way Mos Def does it, he bends it a little, right? Because when we say gifted and simple, it takes a little longer for us to say gifted, simple. Like simple, it physically takes you a shorter amount of time to say simple because the F sound in gifted makes you draw it out. But he says gifted, you know, almost like in the back of his throat, simple, gifted, simple, right?
Right. It's an accent on that it.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and again, so, and the tid of gifted and the pill of simple, that's a little harder to hear as a rhyme, but again, the way he pronounces it, it's rhymed. And also, it's just the parallel construction, right? That gifted and simple are both two-syllable words whose accent is on the first syllable. So when after that point, you know, you can force a rhyme really easy. Like if gifted was a two-syllable word with the accent on the second rhyme, then it will be harder to fit in, but that's not the case, okay? So now let's break this down according to like the four little criteria we had before, you know? So, do you want me to handle this, or do you want to do it?
Right, so,
yeah.
It's like two syllables. Yeah, the first one is two syllables, and the second one is one syllable long. It's at the end, but he also has like internal rhymes.
Yeah.
Fairly simple, right? They're not that like crazy difficult. Yeah. And it's actually quite a bit of rhyming within like one bar.
Exactly.
Right. How about you handle the rest, right?
No. I think that's a perfect way to cover it all. And so I don't think there's that much more to add to it, you know. So if I were to break this down, and I gave you Mos Def on purpose because Mos Def literally always rhymes like this. Like it does not matter what song you go to. You know, Mathematics might be a little bit of an outlier, but from his stuff from his album Black on Both Sides, his mixtape stuff, which is from, or even... Which one? Yeah, exactly. Black Star was the next one. So I could play you Redefinition, and it's the same thing. Even Twice in a Lifetime. So, yeah, so to sum it up, you know, so I would say Mos Def rhymes all the time in long, frequent, multisyllabic end rhymes. And that kind of hits all four of our buttons. Long syllable, or long, well, multisyllabic and long is a little bit redundant. So multisyllabic, block, end rhymes frequently. Right? And the block, because one of our criteria kind of is order, right? So block means that they always come in the same order. And, I don't know what you would call the other one. I've heard them called, not mosaic, but I forget what. But, so block just means, same order, right? Because gifted and spare, simple and rare. The si vowel sound comes before the air vowel sound, in both rhymes, right? And multisyllabic means it has lots of syllables. Block, end rhymes means it's at the end of the sentence, and frequently, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 syllables here, and I guess, yeah, 6, a full 6, you know. So that's 60%, and so just in general, and so obviously he can't keep up this high rate of rhyming across the entire verse. It probably comes down, really down, probably to about 30% or so. So that's a little above average, I would say...
a great way to actually look at it, to actually, like, analyze a song by
how much
really looking at the syllables and how much percent is rhymed and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And there are people who have done this before, so if you want to read up more on it, I actually did a whole kind of, like, paper thing on this. But this guy, that's a really good article called Rap Metrics, and he talks about rhyme density, which is, you know, this percentage that I'm talking about, all syllables. So if you want to read up on that later, that'll be good. So, so then, you know, and we're talking about this big picture stuff because good rappers essentially vary their rhyme schemes every 2 bars in this way. And they vary it according to length, position, order, uniqueness, and frequency. Okay? So this is Mos Def, and you can tell, and let's just real quick identify how he's still doing this in the next few bars.
Put a fist in the air.
You know, so fist in the air is the same thing. Put a fist in the air, right? Fist in the air rhymes with simple and rare, rhymes with gifted and spare. Another multisyllabic block end rhyme. That's taking up a lot of syllables, you know, and, so yeah, so a little more.
Black Dawn say the nigga is here. Steady rock for that's here, and any nigga that's not. For them niggas locked 2 in a box, and all my niggas in the funeral plot.
You know, so that's 2 in a box, funeral plot. Funeral plot, 2 in a box. Yeah, so he's still doing a 4 block and rhyme.
Black people, most of Swiss at the top of your dial. I spit
Top
this
of your
and make them
dial.
swallow they style.
Swallow
From the
their
hurriest
style.
growl to the quietest moan, to the gun that made the king come out of his throne.
Quietest moan, come out of his throne. You know, so he's still doing it,
Now in the
right?
zone with the livest wire and best style shit. It's real in every sense. Extinction level event. We push the levels to 10 and push the levels again for riders with the heavy.
Yeah, so his thing here is that this style works because it's a really more complicated rhyme scheme than most rappers try to get away with on a club track, right? And the beat is dope because frickin' Swiss Beats did it. So that's why this one works, big picture style. Because someone might say, like, oh, well, he keeps using the same rhyme scheme over and over, so why does it work? And that would be my response, is that this is a club track, but he put in these really complex rhyme schemes. And plus, Mos Def is gifted with one of the most just naturally enjoyable voices I've ever had the pleasure of being alive to hear. Like, his voice is just incredibly engrossing, almost soothing. It's like freaking honey poured over molasses or something like that. Yeah. So let's and I gave you a Kanye track. I gave you a Big Boy track. What was the 4th one I gave you? Do you remember?
Kanye, Big Boy, and Eminem. What was it? Part 2.
Oh, Bitch Please Part 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna because it's a style that's related to Mos Def's. You know, they're somewhat similar. I'm gonna slightly go off that game plan and take you to a Fugees track, a Lauryn Hill verse, because because I want to show you how flexible and how renewable these rhyme schemes are. Because, you know, as the way I've described it, it might not seem like there's a whole lot of artistic material to get out of this. But I want to show you the different purposes that long block rhymes can be put to. So let me just, I think it's this one.
Refugee camps under investigation, gunshot. We got like safari.
Yeah, right here.
We really keep the word when a boy want to test this set. Now you get wet up just a bit too unprepared to shoot a fair bet. Fake bullets can't scar me. I can spell it, we got like safari.
Right here.
Play you out like Atari, sacrifice you Harvey. And I'm sorry to every single rapper, Dick and Harvey, saying they want to spar me cause I think my repertoire and my memoir beat reminding me of eating calamari in the Kalahari with a band around
Right there.
safari. So,
I mean, that's one of my, and this is also a really good illustration of unique rhymes, right? Like we both know the words calamari, Kalahari, repertoire bee, and memoir bee, but we never thought to rhyme them all together, you know? And,
Like that.
yeah, and that's why, that's uniqueness, you know? That's about as unique as you can get. And there are other verses out there. Asher Roth has a really nice one on Big Sean's where he rhymes like Mojave with Mugabe and stuff like that. So again, you know, let's write down some of her rhymes. Okay, play you out like Atari, sacrifice you Hari Kari. Alright, so we have Atari, so play you like Atari, sacrifice you Hari Kari. Right? So what are the, what words are being rhymed here? Well, Atari and Hari Kari, right?
Right.
And so how would you describe these ones? Play you like Atari, sacrifice you Hari Kari.
So she's going, like, again, it's like at the end of the line, right?
Exactly.
Bar, right? Still, it's multi-syllable. It's like, it's 3 syllables, right?
Yeah.
Actually 4.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I would say 3 because most of them are 3. Safari, calamari. Yeah, keep going. You got it, though. Same order or different order?
It's like the same order, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I wanted to go here, and pretty frequent. And that's why I wanted to go here. Because she is using the same rhyme scheme as Mos Def, but she's using it much more frequently, and she has more unique rhymes, which makes the same fundamental rhyme scheme sound completely different.
my memoir beat reminding me of eating calamari in the Kalahari with a band of Rastafaris.
Eating calamari with the Kalahari, in the Kalahari with the band of
the Kalahari.
Yeah. In the, sorry, let me write it in the Kalahari.
Like calamari in the Kalahari. Something with
Rastafari.
Rastafari, right.
Eating calamari in the Kalahari with the... God, she is so good, man. She is so good. Eating calamari in the Kalahari with the band of Rastafari. Okay, so now, let's just analyze this bar, right? Because that's one sentence. So now she has internal rhymes, right? Because she's eating calamari in the Kalahari with the band of Rastafari, right? So so she's now using rhymes more frequently, because Mos Def was really only using 2 rhymes per bar, mostly 1. So he's probably at like 1.5 block rhymes per bar. But Lauren here ups it to eating calamari in the Kalahari with the band of Rastafari. So and that's like 1.5. So she has 3. She is 3 and 1.5 bars, right? So what she did now, and this is the climax of her verse, because her verse is about to end, right? So if you notice, she increased the frequency of her rhymes.
Every single rap army, I can spell a week out. Just a bit too unprepared to shoot it fair bet. Fake bullets can't scar me. I can spell a week out like Safari. Play you out like Atari, sacrifice you Harvey. And I'm sorry to every single rapper, Dick and Harvey, saying they want to spar me, cause I think my repertoire.
Okay, so far she's been having 2 rhymes per bar, right?
Sacrifice you Harvey, and I'm sorry to every single rapper, Dick and Harvey, saying they want to spar me, cause I think my repertoire and my memoir beat reminding me of eating calamari in the Kalahari with a band of Rastafari. So, you shouldn't diss refugees and your whole sound set
right, and then the verse is over. So that's what I was saying before, when that rappers vary their rhyme schemes in order to create interest in their verses and their dramatic arc, right? So what you did was really simple. It's really simple, but just so effective. And that's what it took me 12 years of writing music to figure out, is that it does not take much, right? So she even just has 1 rhyme scheme, and then she doesn't even end with a rhyme, I don't think. It just gets sung right. Okay, yeah, so that rhymes, but she ends by singing it. And that's what her level of mastery is at. Because she knows that people like me and you will know what she's doing. That she's increasing her rhyme scheme. That she's being so flippant with the beat that she feels confident enough in her raps to end with singing. You know, and it's like amateurs, how to make this? Like amateurs make mistakes on purpose. Or amateurs make mistakes by mistake, obviously.
Yeah, make mistakes because they make mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but then, like, as you get better, you know, what would you say? The average rapper doesn't want to make mistakes because he thinks they're bad. But experts like Lauryn Hill figure out how to turn mistakes into these really cool artistic moments, like of not rhyming, or just like busting out into singing. You know, yeah. So this is a good connection now. So we have Mos Def, we have Lauryn Hill, and we can move on to some new stuff. Let me do one more, because we've kind of been working with like the same rhyme scheme. So I give you a Big Boy one, and Big Boy is really I like his style as like a case study, because it's kind of something that really works together. Like it's only an interlocking. Every part of his rhyme style is really specifically picked. And I feel like if you were to change any of them, then the rhyme style couldn't necessarily work. So I think I gave you Aquemini's first verse. So let's go over that real quick, and then we can listen to Messiah, and then I want to move on to some new stuff, because but the start of Aquemini is really different, obviously, from what we did with Mos Def and Lauryn Hill. Right here.
Now it's time to get on like Spike Lee say, get on the bus. Go get your work and keep your people chirping. It's a must. Get you on that dust cornstarch, familiar with that smack man. The music is like that green stuff, provided to you by Sack Man, Pac Man.
Right, so that's enough. So let's just, to get it in our ear, let's listen to it one more time.
Now it's time to get on like Spike Lee said, get on the bus. Go get your work and keep your people chirping, it's a must. Did you want that dust cornstarch, familiar with that smack, man? The music is like that green stuff, provided to you by Sack Man, Pac-Man. How many fuck you think we gonna do that, man?
Right, so
Right.
this is obviously very different from what Mos Def and Lauryn Hill are doing, right? So and those X's, I just forget the words, but the words aren't the most important part.
Not much more important. The thing is that he rhymes, makes like really long sentences, rhymes at like both at the end, but then he mixes it up and starts at the beginning like Pac-Man. Then
yeah, exactly. So would you say, just broad strokes, are there more rhymes here or less rhymes here than Mos Def and Lauryn?
So that's the whole thing. There might be more, there might be less. It might be actually the same. It just sounds different because he mixes it up all over the place. It's like more rhymes, but different types of rhymes.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. So like he changes his rhyme scheme, like you're saying, he changes his rhyme scheme more frequently because I think he does flip "Go get your work and keep your beeper chirping." Right? Yeah. He rhymes working with chirping, which is a nested rhyme scheme inside of bus and must. Right? So it's like an ABBA form, right? Because the B's are working and chirping that rhyme with each other, and the A's are bus and must, which rhyme with each other, right? And the B's are internal rhymes, and the A's are end rhymes. Broad strokes, though, Big Boy definitely rhymes less here, though, right? Like, if you were to just count a percentage, like, while Lauryn and Mos Def were probably...
Per word, definitely. Per syllable, he rhymes much less.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. It might be 10%. It might even be less, you know? I mean, now is the time to get on, like Spike Lee said, get on the... So what is that? That's one syllable out of, like, 13, right? And so...
Right.
And so you can think of these one-syllable end rhymes like bus and must as being simpler, or you could think of them as being more flexible, more transforming, more shape-shifting. And that's really why Big Boy likes them. Because these verses, and that's why Big Boy and Andre work so well together, because their styles are so different, they're contrasting. Big Boy's verse here isn't about the rhymes. Big Boy's verse here is about the rhythms, because his rhythms are also a lot more complex than Lauryn Hill's and Mos Def's, which is not any knock on those two dudes, but it's like, I'm gifted and spare, I'm simple and rare. That's really simple. It's just, you know, or whatever. It's just quadruplets, right? But Big Boy's is a lot more, there are more triplets. There's more...
It's like almost like spoken word type thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but he's still in time with it. So he kind of throws in more triplets, more shuffle feel to it. So it's like, now is the time to get on, like Spike Lee said, get on the bus. And that's, and so, if he wants to make the rhythms really important, then the rhymes can't be as frequent, because rhymes always create accent. You know, like you have to stop and say a rhymed syllable more loudly than an unrhymed syllable. You know, like I could say eating calamari in the Kalahari with a band of Rastafari and not have calamari rhyme with it. I just say it like, eating calamari in the Kalahari with the band of Rastafari. You know, so rhymes, yeah, rhymes physically take up more space in your flow is a way to think of it. So when Big Boy wanted these cool rhythms, I mean, even now, just go back and listen, the word now isn't on the beat. He says it in a way that makes you think it's on the beat, like, now is the time to get on, but actually, this is how he does it. Now is the time to get on, like Spike Lee said, get on the bus. And it's a flow that I can't even do. Because my voice box is not built that way, you know. He pronounces it like really far in the front of his mouth. So I would even encourage you to try and go back and do a Quemini like how Big Boy does. And you'll realize that the impressive thing isn't necessarily his rhythms or his rhyme schemes. Even though both those things are awesome, the most impressive thing is his articulation. Because you can perfectly hear every single word. Like, it's actually really easy to speak quickly, right? But it's really, really hard to speak that quickly, and have perfect articulation. So even like Break Your Neck from Busta Rhymes, you know, it's not... Yeah, we can all rap to it, but we can't crisply articulate it. So to get that sound, you almost have to like, not close your lips, because lips block the airflow. And you have to pronounce everything really far in the front of your mouth, because that is where your, the most agile parts of your voice making system are, right? Like the front of your tongue is much more agile than the back of it. Your teeth can move around really easily. You know, so he's almost like rapping with like a smile on his face, so that that breath of air is constant, and he has really good breath control. But that's a little, you know, and that's just like FYI stuff down the side, right? But this is how I want you to like think of these rhyme schemes when you start, and we'll get to the freestyle soon. It's like that these rhyme schemes do things, and you have to know you have to know all of these like sub bullet points I've given you in order to understand how rhyme schemes function, right? So that like rhymes take up more space. About articulation, what a rap verse is about. Because I think that's what sometimes people miss, right? It's like when they're like, oh, all rap is, and don't get me wrong, some rap is misogynistic, some rap is racist. But when you get like those ego raps, you kind of have to be like, well, if he's just saying nothing or saying the same thing over and over again, how about you just give him the benefit of the doubt and start to look for things that are there? Like, what is this rap verse about? You know, because the billions of people who listen to hip hop, they're not all idiots, man. That's like what you gotta. That's what I would hope critics would, the answer that critics eventually arrive at. Like, people like this music for a reason, you know. Okay, yeah. So this kind of wraps up our rhyme scheme summary. So then you vary your rhyme scheme. So if what's a good vary? Well, Tupac's pretty good. I mean, he varies it.
How about you give me like a bunch more, and this time I'll actually go over them, or maybe I'll just choose my own.
Yeah, you know,
full artist, and then I'll just because I think it's good for me to like go over and actually really understand it much better. Because that way, when I go to do my own, you know, I'll have a much better base.
Yeah. Yeah, let me give you, I mean, this kind of worked well, so let me give you a few, and you can add, a few, okay, alright, so Talib Kweli, redefinition. So now I'm kind of giving you ones, you know, because I think you have gotten the idea of identifying, rhymes pretty well down, right? So now I'm going to give you some where the rhyme schemes don't stay the same the entire verse, like the Mos Def or Lauryn Hill or Big Boy One, but ones where they change. So Talib Kweli, that's his first verse from Redefinition. That's a Black Star track, so you might even already know that. Then the other ones are, okay, so Kendrick Lamar, I think it is Backseat Freestyle on my life. Yeah, Backseat Freestyle. And then Tupac, I think it's Changes.
Changes by heart. Well, you said by heart.
Oh, what, Changes?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, dude, that song changed my life, dog. No lie. I mean, that's like, yo, that song should be taught in high schools, like, for real, as part of, like, the English 3 curriculum, dude. I mean, because it's incredible. I mean, you don't get writing about American society like that in academic journals, how incisive it is. Anyway. No, yeah, just real. We gotta change the way we live, gotta change the way we eat. Yeah, so, alright, so let's get to, Messiah. I downloaded it, and we can start here, and then we can bounce back a little bit to freestyling, because I did come up with a bit of a, another good homework assignment for you. So, yeah, so that one is just analyze those rhyme schemes using the 4, things that we've used so far: length, frequency, position, order, and uniqueness if you want. Uniqueness would be good, actually.
Take one.
So actually, what it is, I just went up to the random generator, right? And I just I clicked it a bunch of times until I got something that looked like I could work with.
Yeah.
And Messiah was just the first thing, and I was just thinking, all right, fine, let's just.
Okay.
You know, I did at the top of the page, and just wrote down like a bunch of stuff that I, you know, thought would go with it, like Messiah, like for Messiah, Pariah, all those other stuff that you can see in the verse, and it took me literally a couple of minutes, and then I just pretty much wrote down like what I thought it, you know, certain like schemes that I could work with, and then I recorded it, right? So I'm not sure if that's what you meant by doing like
No, yeah, this is great. That's exactly what I was looking for. So did you, so this is kind of like not a freestyle, but you wrote it really quickly, right? Or did you freestyle it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I wrote it like really quick. It took me, the first 2 lines were, I just did it like off the top of my head, like immediately. And then I got stumped, right? So thinking
No,
I need to add some
perfectly,
more, so I just need to
perfectly
write
fine.
some more thoughts about it.
Yeah, and honestly, that's perfectly fine. And honestly, if you get stumped, just move on to a new one, because I know how that works. That like the first line is awesome, and then the second line is awesome, and then the third line is pretty good but not great, and then the fourth line is good but not great, and then the fifth one and the sixth one start to drawl. So we'll get there. But that's like of a piece perfectly. It dovetails perfectly, kind of with what I was telling you last time, right? That these rappers don't improv everything. That's just impossible.
No, of course not, because they have so much experience writing down things, so they always go back to stuff that they know.
Yeah.
Right? That they broke down. It's like, they sit down and pretty much, their book of rhymes, like nothing. Just, you go back to things that you think about for quite a long time, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, so like you're saying, take someone like Eminem, dude. Eminem currently, I have no doubt in my life that Eminem is the single person in the history of the world who has rapped the most. Just like bare in terms of raw hours and minutes, right? I mean, he's done so many albums, dude. He just shows off now. He now makes raps about his raps, and that's what Marshall Mathers LP2 was. I mean, his song, he's got multiple songs on there. Oh, and I wanna also Messiah is a great place to start. It's a great title, but I mean it is more than that. It's a great symbol, no matter what purposes you decided to put it to. And I'm surprised because when I think of Messiah, I mean, there are symbols that everyone uses, right? Fire, wind, trees, whatever, spring. But I'm surprised because I can't think of a single rapper who's really, like, done a song on Messiah, and even if it's religious, even if it's, what would you say, spiritual, even if it's more secular, because I haven't listened to it yet, and we'll do that in a second. That's a great place to start. So I want to talk about why it is, and I can do that with Kendrick. But real quick, so Eminem, anyway, so Marshall Mathers LP2, dude, so every rap verse is basically like 16 bars, right? He's got songs where he's got 3 verses, but all the verses are 32 bars long, and then he's got choruses that are the length of a normal verse that are 16, and then he does an intro and an outro with ad-libs. So these songs become, like, Bad Guy is like, which one? Yeah, Bad Guy from Marshall Mathers LP2 is 7 minutes 14 seconds long. So that's where Eminem is at. That he is just like, I can do this all day. So I can even, dude, he's rhymed oranges multiple times. He's rhymed spaghetti multiple times, So I do think that in a certain way, like the first thing he does with a word is see if it can be rhymed. But let's bring it back to Messiah for a second, Let me listen to it.
Word generator Messiah.
First.
I'm a Messiah. Spit my truth on the mic like Elijah. Leave an empty seat for my type, no
Killed
pariah.
Alright, let me back up. Alright, first off, Messiah and Elijah, that's a perfect connection.
Like
let me keep going now.
Leave an empty seat for my type, no pariah. Watch your back on this track, Alanaya. Let Yaya your crew step to you with the fire. Brimstone, hail, I'll never fail, surprise ya.
Okay, nice. Alright, nice. Yeah, so, a couple things. Alright, so Messiah and Elijah, that's perfect. Like, that is the kind of obvious, logical, natural connection in rhyme that you're going for. It's just like, the kind of rhyme that I hear that makes me think, oh my god, why have I never heard that rhymes before? So like your standard should be words that people would use in an everyday conversation that's not rap. Because when people talk about Messiah and Elijah, yeah, that's a really nice rhyme. But when people talk about Messiah and Elijah, like they use those same words in the same sentence, right? And I forget Elijah's exact function, but people thought Elijah was the Messiah, right? And he was like, no, I'm not the Messiah.
Pretty much, something like that.
Yeah. Hey, broad strokes, it's the Bible.
Yeah. I am so not religious, so that...
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I think that's what it is. So Messiah, okay, that was really nice. So that's what we want to go to, because I mean, you even hear these rhymes that, like, even from the best rappers, and you're just like, well, those words, you know, they jump subjects really quickly. And then you're kind of just like, well, that doesn't really make much sense. So my kind of fallback example of this is Get You Some with Busta Rhymes.
Time to give it to you, nigga. You tryna compete? Let him play. Don't stop, nigga. We ain't done. Gonna do your fucking roadblock. A lot of niggas shit sound dated. I'm like Shaq, a franchise player just got traded to the #1 team in the league. See, I ain't on J Records, I'm on Dre Records. Aftermath, bitch.
Okay, so he starts off saying a lot of rappers shit sounds dated. I'm like Shaq, the franchise player just got traded. But like dated and traded, they rhyme, but that sentence and the next sentence don't have much to do with each other. You know, he has just moved on to this new subject to be like, a lot of rappers shit sounds dated. I'm like Shaq, franchise player just got traded. So if you were in a conversation, you'd be like, why can this person not, are they paying attention? Why can they not hold a conversation? You know, so it's like, that's fine. And God, I love that song, you know, but it's just, but then you're like, well, what are we listening for then? And you have to be like, well, we're listening to the beat and his delivery, and plus it's Busta Rhymes and Dr. Dre, so it's super badass. And this is one of the single greatest songs Dre ever made, and the mixing is amazing. And Q-Tip does the chorus, you know? So when you have all these advantages for it, like, yeah, Busta Rhymes can skip around. So
But I can't do that, right?
What's that?
It's like, for me, it's like difficult because it's like when I'm thinking about something, for me, it has to make some type of a connection, right?
Yeah.
I'm not at that point where I can just jump around from like a subject and then just go to another subject. It's like when I'm thinking about, let's say, writing something down, or it's like, you know, it was Messiah. So for me, it's like Messiah. All right, so I'm gonna go around all these. I guess it would be like biblical / you know, all that type of you know, somebody who's going to be like he's gonna bring the word to the world and all that type of stuff, right? But from jumping around from that idea to something completely different, I mean, that's not.
It's a little.
It's hard.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that opening is like perfect, and that should be like your standard, you know? So I'm even getting ideas on my own, which is how I know. So like you have Elijah. So I would rhyme off that for like 2 or 4 bars, you know, if I'm writing this. But then eventually like Elisha, you know, because Elisha was another prophet. And so then so then the rhyme isn't in the fact that the vowel sounds are similar. The rhyme is in the fact that the words sound similar, right? So Elijah with Elisha. And this is a bit of a advanced rhyming technique, but the Fugees do this all the time. So like Wyclef Jean, well, again, it's with the Fugees, so I think it's How Many Mics, but he rhymes Baldwin with Chapman, and the only reason it works is because the words look alike. So let me show you real quick.
I don't dig my garage. Always watch your back, never tangle with Haitian Sicilians. Now I gotta wreck your ill. How does it feel? I'm never gonna survive.
Oh no, it's Prize actually. My bad.
I be booking to Brooklyn, beat the trails, broken, flipping tokens
right here.
A clean get actually, Marshall entourage. Squash the squad and hide their bodies under my garage.
So squash your squad and hide their bodies under my garage. You know, so that works because it's a really simple rhyme scheme, just one syllable. But they're really unique rhymes if you listen, right? It's right here.
Dick Van Dyke, fight. Double dudes built like I don't Dick Van Dyke. Starlight to star bright, the freaks come out at night. Like my man Wyclef. My sunglasses at night. And my panache will march your entourage. Squash your squad and hide it.
And my panache will mosh your entourage, squash your squad, and hide their bodies under my garage. So they're really unique, you know, they're like Lauryn Hill's rhymes.
And when the cops come looking, I be booking to Brooklyn. Beat the trails, broken, flipping tokens, still Hoboken. A clean getaway like Alec Baldwin. Driving in my fast car, playing Tracy Chapman.
So there, the rhyme, again, is that the words look alike. He rhymed Chapman with Baldwin. And those work because they're both 2 syllables long, and the accent is on the first syllable. And he preserves that structure, with which other rappers will change. But then Chapman and Baldwin do rhyme a little. It's just that the rhymes come on their unaccented part, on the win of Baldwin and the min of Chapman. And plus, Alec is rhymed with Tracy, You know, so it's like Alec Baldwin, Tracy Chapman. And it's a rap song, so that context kind of makes it rhyme. So that's just another way. That's where, like, I would extend it to, you know? So now let's, like, take your next few rhymes, because this is where we have to start thinking
Take one.
in this holistic way
Random
I was
word
talking
generator
about
Messiah.
before.
I'm a messiah. Spit my truth on the mic like Elijah. Leave an empty seat for my type, no pariah. Watch your back on this track, Alanaya. Let your crew step to you with the fire.
Yeah, Anaya. So this is where we have to handle our materials really carefully. You know, like this is where, yeah.
I wanted to like use the word annihilate, right?
Exactly.
So annihilate.
Yeah.
Right, but I kind of tried to split it up, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And this is like where obviously it's fine to do this. I mean, Eminem does this all the goddamn time on some of my favorite songs. But it's like you have to know what you're doing. But it's more than you have to know what you're doing. You have to let the listener know that you know what you're doing. And this is where we're talking about that amateurs make mistake by accident. Average rappers try to avoid mistakes, and expert rappers make mistakes on purpose. Because what's your mistake? Right. Your mistake is that you have rhymed an incomplete word. You know, so now you have to do something that lets us know that you know what you're doing. Okay, and you could do this in a couple different ways, and this is what becoming a good rapper is all about. And so there are a couple of different things. You could make the rhyme absolutely insane, like just in length, in uniqueness, in how long you keep the rhyme scheme going for. You could tell us that you know what you're doing, semantically, with your words. Tell us lyrically you know what you're doing. You could make it over the top. You can make the mistake over the top. Like, make the mistake just so obvious that people know you did it on purpose. You know, by being like, I'll leave a seat open, no pariah. For you, I am going to Anaya. Late. So then you'd even wait longer.
Got it. Got it.
You know, because then, I mean, and the listener, because that's what's fun for the listener, is when the story changes. Because when you go Anaya, in that first instance, I'm like, let's just say like, oh, he made a mistake. And then it goes on slightly longer, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And then your delay goes on a little bit longer, and I'm like, he's doing this on purpose, and then you bring it back in. And the story has done like this, like 180 or 360, you know?
Right.
So that's how you handle it, right? You could make the mistake over the top, or you could make a pun, right? Because you know, because you have set your. So this is what I want to impress upon you. It's not that this is the wrong idea. It's that the idea can be improved, right? It's not about the ideas we have in art. It's about what you do with the ideas that you have. Because everyone has these ideas. It's just a matter of how you can improve them and update them and stuff like that. So let me show you how someone else handled this. So Eminem on, once again, Marshall Mathers LP 2. He's got this Never Be the Same After. It's Legacy? No.
I was gonna go easy on you, not to hurt your feelings.
What the hell is it called?
Came to the world at a time when it was in need of a villain. Asshole, that don't think I. Or Eminem has a whole fucking difficult shit.
Come on, dog.
Yeah.
That's not it either. Alright, sorry.
Trying to figure out the difference. But I think the lines are starting to get blurred. I'm in a strange place. I feel like Mace when he gave up the game for his faith. I feel like I'm caged and he's changing his strengths. Grim and every stranger in the place while I gaze into space. Cause I'm mentally rearranging his face. I need a change of pace. Cause the pace I'm working at's dangerous. There's nowhere to dump this anger. And thanks to this angst, I done quit chicken heads cold turkey and started slowly roasting. Cause that's where most of my anger is based. Fuck your feelings. I feel like I'm.
Yeah, right here.
Legends are made up. Sweet boy, I'm in a. Got him climb a mind. It's like an.
So Eminem basically did what you did. This entire verse.
Inside of an engine. Sad baby, gets mad, he gets throwing a tantrum, he'll fucking flip on ya. So step inside a dimension, limited side of a mind that's like an inside of an engine. What a multiplier, undivided attention. But be reminded if I didn't mention, I lose my mind and my temper, you'll be the first one who finds him offensive.
Okay, so he hasn't broken the words yet because it's the first 4 bars. Because he knows that, he knows this, do it at a musically, structurally important point. He knows this 5th bullet point I just sent you. That if you do these things at musically important points, then those are kind of like your breaths of fresh air, so it's okay to do them at these points. And those points are the end of every 4 bars. Because in rap, musical loops repeat over every 4 bars.
Climbing the fences, lost some time to addiction, but look up rhyme in the dictionary.
Right there. Look up rhyme in the dictionary.
I'm in the picture, I lose my mind and my temper, you'll be the first one who finds him offensive. Got him climbing the fences, lost some time to addiction, but look up rhyme in the dictionary. I'm in the picture, and then it's the synonym for it. I'm an enigma, fuck it, let's get to the meat. I'm gonna skip the
veg and potatoes. You know, so again, it's incomplete, but he's carefully handling this breaking of words, and he does it the entire verse. Shit legends are made of spit. That you would say to your worst enemy. And so, you know, so he's working off all of these points I've said so far, right? The rhymes are absolutely insane because he's still doing it. He hasn't told us lyrically because it's so obvious from everything else. His mistake is over the top because he uses it over and over. He hasn't made a pun on it, and he does it at these musically structurally important points. Plus, he's Eminem, so we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But unfortunately, neither of us are Eminem, so we don't quite have that. So let's just listen to the whole thing real quick.
Maybe I need my head exam. Hannibal Lecter with a dead lamb hanging from his ceiling, dripping with a bedpan. I need meds, swear to God, cause if I go off the edge, see, I ain't talking me off the ledge, man. Heart throb at a fart. Nah, more like a smart slob. Heart plob, and I'll stab you with a sharp object.
I'll stab you with a sharp object. And leave claw marks.
Heart and leave claw marks all over the Walmart walls. Little baby with large balls. Fuck mud slinging, I'm blood flinging. There's nothing on this fucking earth better than being a king of the playground. I hate the swings, but I love being an underdog. Cause when I'm pushed, I end up swinging.
You know, so that's, I mean, you know, easier said than done, but that's how you do it, right? And so, like, these are the kind of things, though. But, like, you're in a conversation with your listener. At the same time, you're telling them something like, what's the opening line? At the same time that you're actually telling them what your song is saying, you're also having, like, this secondary conversation about what your rap is doing.
I'm a messiah. Spit my truth on the mic like Elijah.
Right. So, yeah, you told us you're the Messiah, you spit your truth on the mic like Elijah, but at the same time, you're also having a conversation with us about what you think of rap, right? And also, plus, like, I love that imagery, you know, that whole religious imagery. Those are some of my favorite songs, you know, so, like, freaking Wu-Tang does it. Oh, flowing like Christ when I speaks the gospel. Lauryn Hill, I mean, the Fugees in them, and Neo Soul made, like, a goddamn career and a genre out of it. So that works really well. But the Anaya thing, so this is what I'm telling you. So what I would do...
Leave an empty seat for my type, no pariah. Watch your back on this track, I'll Anaya. Let Yaya your crew step to you with the...
Yeah, so I think you could make this work in its current form if you made a few small changes. I would actually rush the opening so you could delay it. And I might rearrange the words so that this happens at a musically... important point. Because even though you're rapping without a beat behind you, there are still bars. Just because we've heard raps, right? So let me count them. And yeah, let me just count them.
I'm a messiah. I'm a messiah. Spit my truth on the mic like Elijah. Leave an empty seat for my type, no pariah. Watch your back on this track, I'll Anaya. Let Yaya your crew...
So that's the thing, right? Is that you put this breaking of the word on the first beat of your...
Yeah, that's pretty much what I tried to do, because remember what we said last time is that I tend to rhyme at the last syllable of the last beat, beat of the bar, right? So I tend to put like the rhyme on the last beat of the fourth beat of the bar, right?
Yeah.
So you said try to mix it up, try to do it the exact opposite, try to go on the first beat.
Yeah,
That's what I tried to do.
Yeah, and that's really good. It's just that you paired it with this other thing that's really complex, right? Because when you move rhymes at the end of your sentences to the first beat of a bar, that's complicated. So you can't overburden our ear with trying to follow these things, especially if you don't have a beat, right? Because when you're the rapper and there's no beat behind you, now you're pulling double duty, man. You know, like now you aren't just doing the rap, but you also have to craft the bar structure behind us. Like, isn't it odd that I could count bars and beats to that while you were rapping, even though there's no beat there at all? So someone might just be like, oh, well, it's just, you know, it doesn't have a tempo. Or, like, the tempo is constantly changing. Or, like, oh, sometimes he creates odd groupings of beats, like 5 to a beat. But it's just like that rotation and repetition of a 4-beat bar is just too ingrained in our ear as rappers, and even as rap listeners, as modern music.
Pretty much almost all modern music is actually 4x4.
Exactly, yeah. And so that's why, like, for you, we just imprint it. So it's like you could have done a rhyme on the first beat of the bar, and you could have broken a rhyme in half. But to break a rhyme in half on the first beat of the bar, it's asking the listener to supply too much of the structure on their own. You know, it's like, it's asking the listener to do too much. Like, I know what you did because I have a music degree, dude. Like,
you do this for your living, right?
Yeah. But listeners, I mean, how to say this? Bad rappers who don't know that they're bad will think that you made a mistake. And it's not that you made a mistake. It's just that they don't know what they're talking about, and that you asked the listener to supply too much of the structure. So.
Oh, and the fact that my delivery sucks, right?
Well, yeah, and that's like the thing we were gonna get to, like the delivery. But like, it's like delivery comes. You know, delivery comes with practice. And I'm not just telling you that, like, we're gonna kick this shit down the can, down the road, kick the can down the road and deal with this problem later. Because I wouldn't be much of a teacher if I was telling you that. But like, the thing is, like, in rap, like, your delivery comes, and let's talk about your delivery real quick, because, you know, we have like 10 minutes left. I want to say, like, your delivery, in other types of music, all of these things can be divorced, right? The performance can be divorced from the writing of the music. That's what classical musicians do. That's even what jazz musicians do to a certain extent. But rappers, it's a little interesting, you know, like a composer composes the work, right? And then he gives it to a conductor who conducts the work. But the conductor isn't even playing the music himself, and the composer sure as hell isn't either. The conductor gives it to other players to play, right? So in rap, it's interesting because the rapper is simultaneously the composer, the conductor, and the instrument player, right? And so what this means is that the composition is not divorced from performance. But this matters to you because the better you write, the better your delivery will get. That's what I'm trying to tell you, is that, like, you know, because in composition, a composer could write a really cool piece, but then a player could play it suckily, right? Or, that's not a word, shittily. So, but like, in rap, that's not really possible. These things work together, because lyrics equal delivery, right? And so, yeah, I could take, like, my favorite Eminem verse, maybe from Airplanes Part 2, and I could deliver it, but it depends on Eminem's songwriting skills. Like, one of the reasons, so it's like, if you become a better songwriter and you work on these rhyme schemes, if you work on the natural progression of ideas in your lyrics, like we've been doing this whole time, your delivery will get better. And then, obviously, there are these other things. The Jean Grey interview and the Talib Kweli interview that I sent you last time are super important for this, because they make me realize that, like, to a certain extent, you are the own best judge of your flow. Or of your delivery. So I know it's a little backwards for you to have to pay money to a teacher to have that teacher tell you, well, you're the best judge of your own delivery. But, like, you know what your voice sounds like. That's what Jean Grey was saying, you know, that everyone's voice is a different instrument. So, like, yeah, you could have a famous Italian singer sing a Mozart opera, and then get a famous German singer sing a Mozart opera. But those will, in rap, those will be substantially different performances, because everyone's voice is different, and you are the judge of your voice. So, I mean, yeah, I could tell you, like, you have to sound absolutely convincing, I should.
Yeah.
You should never doubt, so let me send you this article too, because separating, because this would be helpful, for you too. And I go a little bit about more in depth into what these how we can more quantitatively define like these qualitative standards of like convincing and stuff like that. So I have a nice line that ends that article, but it's like, just consider this. There are better rappers, there are worse rappers, but any rapper you've ever heard of didn't sound like he didn't believe what he was saying to be so true that it should be completely self-evident to anyone who hears it too. So that's kind of like people don't take you seriously until you take you seriously, And so
it's like talking with somebody. It's like when you speak and you speak your mind and you say what you believe. It's convincing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it sounds well. And if you're just like weak about your delivery, then it's not going to be. You're not going to get your point across. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and it's like, and if your delivery is weak, then you might not be saying what you want to be saying, So it does come down to like what I just saw it on like some graffiti wall or something, but it said like, be bad until you're good. And honestly, like that's what happened to me. Oh, actually, I can play you a little, and I can even, let me, I want to play you a delivery of mine from two different parts in my career. You can even hear Eminem's first song, man. I mean, his delivery, Eminem's first song, YouTube, his delivery isn't that great. So, we don't quite have time to, listen to, God, what's that one called? Eminem early song. It's the one that people thought he was racist for. Hold on. Eminem racist song. So I don't quite, Foolish Pride. So, obviously, the, YouTube is not letting me. Okay. Okay. Look up. You know what? Here. Look up "Foolish Pride" by Eminem. And obviously, it's. I don't know if it's latent. I don't know if I've ever actually listened to the whole song. But its racism is obviously abhorrent. But the thing is that we want to listen to is its delivery. And its delivery sounds unsure. But let me. Maybe because he's being racist. But the thing is. Ellie Goldie, I want to play you some deliveries, and the reason my delivery sounds better in the later track, and I'll have you tell me later, as in the song I made more recently. I'll ask you to tell me which one you thought was better. Here we go. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear.
Alright.
Swimming through the crowd, cause there's plenty of fish. Take your pick, drop a line and see if she fit. You're checking out the people and they're grooving. Cold dudes are coolin', and yeah, your boomba's booming. Put that beef on ice, cause it's ice in my buzz. So what's the fuss? She's got a boyfriend, but I've got that lush. And plus it's blush, I know it cause it's glowing with that gold dust.
Alright, so that's the first verse, and don't say anything about it yet, because I want to play you a new one, and I want you to like compare my deliveries, and kind of, that's not the one, let me know talk about them in the way we've been talking about it.
Cool.
Nope.
I'm a millionaire, I'm a young fuck, and I just don't care about your car, money, gossip, glitch, count with news, set composer, scribe time to fuck your flow, that's why I don't write shit. You see what I did there? Well, now that that's done, look at that, like a midget and a flipper nose, bitch, I'm on TV, no, I mean, bitch, you see jokes, so good, I'm a whiskey, let me spell it out for you. I depend on having defense on, especially if this pen is on, then you what will end wrong, like every other rest on the rest of the demos. Bar, much so don't you focus, bar, much so fetch each other, battle for bars, cause it's no low bar. Bar, start your engines, gun ribbon, gun ribbon, gun ribbon. The guy's got who this and don't think what's wrong. I might just act. Okay, I'm just no problem, that was the last one. Are we having fun? I said, are we having fun? Can't possibly keep this up. He's got like 3 minutes to go. I know. Doesn't he have any errands? Doesn't he have any friends? No call decline, no reply. Just as quick as that. RNC last week, all he did was rap beat. I decided to spit that on even I'm all done. So I pop peon to the bug you think you fucking win. I'll see your fan base baller. I don't butt for such weak hits. Yeah, bar.
Alright, so that's the new song I made. So which one do you think is better delivery-wise?
Well, obviously the second one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so obvious. It's like, and I couldn't make out a bunch of the words because it's going through Skype and all that.
Yeah.
It's lights and it's
night and day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
it doesn't sound like the same person. That's the truth.
Yeah, and so like that's what I'm talking about. Like my delivery, and honestly, that night and day shift happened in like a week. Because I finally started writing about what I wanted to write about. So that first song is about parties and girls and drinking and stuff. And just like, I'm not that guy, dude. I don't go out. Like I went to, I'm in grad school now with other students. I went out 3 times over the year, and twice it was to see a movie, and the third time it was to get dinner. Like I just don't like that because it's like tiring. It's tiring to me. I'm not a party guy. But when I started talking about rap, and finally finding these boasts that were funny because they made fun of other people as much as they made fun of me, and they weren't offensive to anyone in any way, and they weren't sexual, then like my delivery just like came to me because that's funny to me, So like, so this is one of the things to help your delivery is to use the words that you actually use in everyday conversation. So the standard for that I use is like, if you wouldn't say it in front of your mom, then don't say it. And I know like curses and other stuff like that, but like so like I don't use I don't use the word bitch in referencing people, And so it's a little hard starting out rapping because the sounds you have in your ear are from the radio, and radio is full of references of drinking and drugs and sex and misogyny and stuff like that. But the thing is, so then when you sit down and start writing, it's really not surprising if that's what you write about, especially because puns have their barrels loaded in that direction, Like as soon as you make a wordplay, people are automatically going to assume that it's about sex or drugs or something illegal because that's what's kind of funny, Like that's even what comedians joke about sometimes. But so that is like a good way of delivery. And so that's one thing. It's like use words you actually use. So if you don't, so you do have, because on the vowel sound you start using ya, like I'll annihilate ya. But like if you don't use the word ya in everyday conversation, then don't use the word ya in your rap, And so this this trickles down to a whole bunch of stuff. But like yo, hey, I mean because again, and it's like Southern hip hop dominates, right? So I had someone else who brought me a song where they used the word trap, and a trap is where they sell drugs. But I was like, dude, like, you ever been to a trap, man? You ever seen a trap? You ever, like, hung out with someone who has hung out in a trap? But so it's like, you gotta, authenticity, right?
Exactly. If it's not real, then it just won't, won't cut through and you can't carry it. It's not real.
Yeah, and it's not about, like, it's like, authentic in terms of, like, class or race or whatever. It's just, like, you being you. So, like, that's why I love that song, man. That's why, like, when I listen to that song, the second one, I go back in time to, like, because that's, like, I really feel like I put a part of who I am in that song. And that's just, like, it's funny, it's manic, it's crazy, and you can even probably identify, so maybe the words were hard to hear, but you can probably identify some of, because you know me, we've hung out.
It's right. I mean, I can hear influences in it, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and again, that's like from the songwriting itself. Is that when I started talking about rap itself, I really, really love rap. And so when I started talking about my love of rap, and not just talking about it, but showing people my love of rap with all these crazy rhythms, the N you want will end wrong, like Enron or Exxon or M starts with them bombs. Then I just can't, like, then you meet yourself where yourself wants to be, right? Because you've come to me and you're like, well, my delivery needs to be better. But so you're halfway there because your delivery wants to be there. So then as soon as you start writing songs that are good enough that they demand you give them the delivery they deserve, then it's like it becomes a reinforcing cycle. And then you're like, then your delivery will be better. So there's some other stuff, eventually because our normal everyday conversations have a certain rhythm and intonation to them in terms of pitch, right? So, like, the most obvious one is when you ask a question, your voice goes up, right? So it's like, you know that, right? Exactly. Yeah, right? And even just right there, my voice goes up. So what I've asked other people to do, and this would be great homework for you to do, is to record yourself talking in everyday conversation with I know you have a kid, or maybe your wife, or if you have, I don't know, anyone else you live with, you know, whatever, just people who would be okay with it. Like, record yourself talking, and then go back and listen to it, and try to describe your voice as a musical instrument. You know, because what do you say?
My problem is that my voice is monotonous as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can make something out of that, man. Because what is this song? Like, if your voice is monotonous, that's only a problem from other people's point of view. It is absolutely not a problem from your point of view.
All hell juice, snooze all hell loose, rake it, take it like the good, the bad, the ugly, break it rolling through your hood in the caddy buggy, butter saucy leather, flossy, fatty
I could skip to any other random song.
Fuck around, get the and the quick, get their own dick. Fools dare care. Everybody wanna rule the world with chairs for fair. Yeah, tell it on the mountain hill. Running
I
up
could
their
go to
mountain
any
hill.
song.
Too fly to skeet in the squeeze of eye. Squeeze a thigh. Maybe give her curves a feel the same way she feeling.
You know, so he's monotonous. His voice is incredibly monotonous. And, you know, that's MF Doom. I played you Vomit Spit. And, you know, he doesn't give any interviews or anything, so I have no idea what his real voice sounds like. But to him, being monotonous is a good thing, you know, and you can see that in his flow, because then what he did is he made his rhymes really complex, you know, because he's like, well, if the pitch isn't going to be interesting, and he's not going to actually sing like Young Thug, or semi-sing like Kanye, or even pretend to sing like Eminem, then what can he do? And, you know, then the rhymes are right there, and he coupled that with a really individual approach to musical arrangements, and that's a fucking career, you know. So if your voice is monotonous, that's fine, dude. Hell, make a monotonous song. Make the next song you send me a monotonous song, but then find out where the other gaps are in there. You know, it's like, okay, I'm being monotonous, but what if the first verse I was monotonous on this pitch, and then the next verse I was monotonous on this pitch, and then the next verse, you know, so it's like, whatever. It's like you just gotta find these little loopholes in there. Yeah. Any questions or anything?
Yeah, maybe what should we do? It's like, just right now, it's like I was thinking maybe for, like, next week, what I'll do is I'll try to maybe prepare, like, something that's more along the lines of 16 bars.
Yeah.
Something like that. And maybe even if I write, it's like I'll go through the random bar generator, I'll just pick a bunch of stuff and try to write out a bunch of stuff. Although, you know, that's me sending myself homework. What would you like suggest? What would be like the best way? By the way,
yeah,
I got a mic, so I can actually. How's the quality of the recording?
Okay, nice. Yeah, that'll be awesome then. Okay, so you're looking for what?
This thing here.
Oh wow, oh cool. What kind you got?
Rode NTK.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah. Okay, so what's your question? You're looking for homework to improve your delivery?
Yeah, it's like not but you say like songwriting skills is probably what's more important right now, right?
Yeah.
And that's definitely cool. Like I told you, it's like I'm here to learn. I'm here to like improve myself, and whatever the basics are is what I should go over, right? So it's like, what would you say? It's like try to bust some stuff off the top of my head, off the random generator, write stuff down, and then do it. What would be like the best way to build up like write skills for it?
Okay, yeah. I mean, so we're really taking a multi-headed approach to this, right? So it's like, you know, your rhyme generator is really good on working for your rhyme. Or, so, what to say? Like, your freestyle practice is really good for working on your rhymes and your songwriting skills. And then maybe writing a 16 out that you take a longer time to do would be better for, like, structuring your bars in the way we've been saying. But if you're looking for, so that's what I'm saying, it's kind of just to do, like, to chop it up into three different things, like the music, the rhymes, and the delivery, and then to improve on, because that's what I'm trying to do, you know, to isolate it down, right? When Kevin Durant is trying to work on his freaking hook shot, you know, he gets someone to pass him the ball, and he just does the single hook shot 3,000 times. He might even stand on, like, the floor and just do this, right? So, and then only in the game with LeBron draped all over him is he ready to do that. So I'm trying to isolate, like, the different parts of rap down to just their essence so you can practice them and then put them all together when you write a song. So I think to divide it up like that is good. And then if you want to work on your delivery, what I've done before is I've given people lyrics from songs I know that they don't know, and I ask them to rap it their way. and I pick songs that are incredibly emotionally gripping, because then that's like what I was. Yeah, so do you want to do something like that? Like I'll give you a famous. I'll give you a okay.
I'll have a lot more time. This week I'll definitely have more time to do this. It's like, and I just got the mic yesterday, so I just set
perfect.
the thing up. So that's pretty cool.
Okay.
And starting to learn how to record in Ableton or anything else, right?
Yeah. All right.
And just by the way, I know that our time's up, but if you could just maybe if you know any nice tutorials about recording vocals in Ableton or just anything, because I did their like getting started. I'm very good at computers. I'm really good at all this type of stuff. But if you like know off the top of your head like a place where you say this is where you can learn like the real basics. I'm not looking to do like any remixes or anything like that. Just I don't know if you don't use Ableton though, right? You use
I use Logic, but Ableton, I mean, honestly, just YouTubing, I mean, because there are tons of tutorials on it, so YouTubing, whatever you think, just YouTube, Googling for just, like, how to record it in Ableton, that'll be just as good as anything I could tell you now. You said you already...
Yeah, so I think what I'll do for next week is I'll take, maybe... the songs that you send me, I'll analyze them.
Yeah.
I'll do stuff off the random word generator, just like try to like make stuff work off the top of my head, like without writing anything down. And then I'll take a bunch of stuff and I'll try to write out maybe a 60 bar or so. And if you have like one thing for delivery, I think that'll round me out for a week.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm about to send it to Get Up, Get Out. Okay, so you don't know Get Up, Get Out, do you, by Outkast?
No.
Okay, alright, this is really good. So this is a CeeLo Green verse, and it's just something that everyone can relate to, not thinking you're good enough, but he really breaks it down to the most, I mean, he asks himself questions that people live 80 years and die while the entire time they're afraid to ask themselves. So it's like, and I mean, he starts it right off, I don't recall ever graduating at all. Sometimes I feel I'm just a disappointment to y'all. Every day I just lay around, then I can't be found, always asking, give me some, living life like a bum. So record yourself rapping that would be my homework for you. And, it's just really... Yeah, so just do that, and then we'll break it down next time. And if you gotta rewrite any of it so that you're more comfortable saying it, or so that it's more a word or here, because I want you to stick to the broad strokes. But it's just like this songwriting is so technically good, and the emotions are so palpable that I don't think anyone could say these words without becoming emotional to some extent, unless they're psychopaths or whatever. So it's just sick of taking trash out and toilet bowl cleaning. I mean, every job I get is cruel and demeaning, sick of taking trash out and toilet bowl cleaning. I've cleaned toilet bowls for a living, dog, and just like to hear someone rap about it on a famous CD was just like, I don't know, man. So it's a really special song, I think, is the best way to put it. CeeLo Green is now like this fucking, American Idol judge or whatever, who spins around on the seat, The Voice, I guess, sitting next to goddamn the British guy. But like, yeah, but this rap was tough. Yeah, so you're good on that end then?
Definitely good.
Okay, cool, sounds good. And then next Thursday at 9 again, right?
Yeah.
Alright, perfect, yeah, thanks a lot, Eitan. I'll talk to you in a week, alright?
Alright, you too.
Thank you, sir, bye now.
Bye-bye.